Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and for my birthday a few weeks ago, my buddy Birdie gave me this custom, handmade, wooden carved Lego Duck Bricks logo colored sorting tray and minifigure wall display. And because everything in life is a competition that I will win, for her birthday in a few days, I am crafting one of the greatest, most extravagant Lego custom gifts yet. Not because I'm a narcissist and make everyone, including everyone's birthdays, about myself, but because I genuinely don't know what else to give people. Somebody please help me. If you're my friend, I hope you like plastic, because I'm not giving you anything else. Over the past few years, I have been hard at work making a ton of custom Lego mosaics, mostly for myself and my own collection, but actually quite a few for my friends and family as well. I've made massive Ninjago ones, Bionicle ones, you can see in the back some more Ninjago, Bionicle, and of course I've built the official Lego art sets for Iron Man, Star Wars, Harry Potter. There have been so many Lego mosaics that we've gotten throughout the years, and I also often give my friends mosaics of their own faces or their loved ones' faces as gifts themselves. So I've done this before, but this one's going to be a little bit more special. Here's the thing. My friend really likes gifts that have something to do with experiences, whether it's something that you create together or do together or form memories made. That's the kind of thing that she likes. And so I figured, why not just give her a fully already completed mosaic of something, but maybe actually make it into my own unofficial Lego set and make that the experience of the gift. So as I was coming up with ideas, my first thought was to, well, just give her a gift of her own face as a mosaic. However, there's a problem. Unlike me, she is a raging narcissist. And I genuinely fear the type of person she would become if I gifted her a gift of a Lego set of making her own face as a mosaic. I mean, those types of people who actually make their own faces into Lego mosaics and put them up, those guys are crazy. I mean, you gotta watch out for those people. They're bonkers. Alright, so if I'm not going to be making a multifunction dartboard slash voodoo object slash effigy of her face, what exactly could I choose of the mosaic subject? Well, I thought about that for a while, then I realized that every time I go over to her place, I make sure to play with her cat, Percy. And as you can see, Percy and I have a ton of fun together, and I figured, you know what, this gift shouldn't be for her. It really should be for my main man, Percy, her cat.
Look, he loves me and my kind so much.
This is where the fun begins, because you see, I just so happened to have a leftover empty box from the Marilyn Monroe art mosaic. This was one that I repurposed into a Lego Bionicle mosaic at least a couple of years ago, and this box has been sitting around in my closet just waiting to be repurposed into the greatest birthday gift known to man. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom artwork for the front of the box and the back of the box. I do not know how I'm going to print it yet, but you're going to find out throughout the course of this video, and I will package it pretty much very similarly to how Lego does their packaging. I'm going to make custom instructions, and we're going to make this as official as an unofficial Lego set as we possibly can.
So how does one actually create the instructions for a Lego art mosaic? You see, this isn't really something you can do by hand. You basically have to use a tool, and thankfully there is a tool out there just for this. Lego-art-remix.com, or Lego Art Remix, has been created by Deb. You can actually see the source code over on GitHub if you are so inclined. I actually got a chance to meet the creator of this website back in BrickCon 2022. It was one of the first few videos that I made on my YouTube channel that I put a focus on, and we actually reached out and got a chance to chat about how this website was created. So thank you so much to Deb for continuing to maintain this with more and more updated Lego stuff. So this is super simple. You can choose whether or not you want to use tiles or studs. I personally just prefer studs because I like that Lego look and feel, but you can also select different sets. So as you can see, for example, you have a list of the different mosaic Lego sets where you can specifically take each and every one of the sets and just use the pieces included in those sets to create your own mosaic, which I think is a really cool feature. However, since we are not cost or time constrained, well, maybe at least not cost constrained, I'm going to select all stud colors and hope that I can order all of the pieces later on. From there, you go ahead and select the input image. Now, I had a few images of the cat Percy that I could have possibly used to create this, but eventually I had to kind of Photoshop my own image and just do some alterations to the image itself because I wanted to give it a custom background. To start, I took a couple of the best images of Percy to work with that I figured would make the most sense for a mosaic style. One of which where he looks really cute and expressive on the bed. You can see very distinct colorations of the fur as well as those very vibrant yellow eyes, which would make for a really good mosaic, as well as another one which is a little bit lower res, a little bit lower quality, but he is wearing a funny little cowboy hat, so I definitely did want to try that. So from there, I went ahead and removed the backgrounds from both of these images using Photoshop and put custom backgrounds on the back. My friend's favorite colors are purple and pink. Basic, I know, but you know what? It's her choice, not mine, so what can you do? And I basically put Percy against the backdrop of the purple and pink gradient, which I created just in a simple gradient with Keynote here, and then it was then time to actually try to make the mosaic. Now this one is a pretty interesting one, because obviously, as you can see, this particular image of Percy has a lot of the back body of Percy. His booty's a little bit too big in the background, and that made for not so great results when I was actually making the mosaic. So I kind of had to fake it and literally just chop off part of his body so you could really just get the head. Obviously this doesn't make sense as an actual image, but for the purposes of a mosaic, it would do just fine. And so what I did is I went ahead and screenshotted each and every one of these images. So I took this one right here, and then I took the other one with the silly little cowboy hat, and then we went back over to LEGO Art Remix to actually select and upload our input image. This is a super simple process, but takes a lot of time to get right. Let's take our first image for example, and you can really see that it outputs something that looks pretty good, but not that great. I think there are definitely a lot of improvements that we can make. Obviously, the smaller that you go with the image itself, the more detail you can get, but I realized that when I was really zooming into the face, you tend to lose the personality of the cat and the clear iconography of a LEGO mosaic of a cat. I really wanted to capture those very big, vibrant ears, which are very pointy, which I felt were very important to capture in mosaic form to really get the character of Percy to really shine through in this artwork. So I wanted to make sure to strike the perfect balance between the amount of detail in this size of mosaic, as well as the actual cat shaping. From there, there's a lot of different settings that you can play around with. I believe I spent close to 4 hours changing around the different settings here, really just getting the hue right to just optimize the look and feel of the mosaic itself. Sometimes if it's too saturated, it didn't look quite good. Sometimes if you have the values right, you really just have to mess around with it to figure out which image is the best. And there are a ton of different settings that you can play around with here to really just modify the image however you want to get just the perfect result. This is honestly the most frustrating and probably the part that just requires a lot of trial and error. I personally had a lot of fun doing it because I just really liked playing around with the settings and really just trying different things until I got the perfect image, but I can also understand that some folks maybe would just prefer to have the mosaic ready to go, in which case you can just go ahead and reset the values. I mean, usually for the most part, if you just use the default settings, it looks fine. Like, I definitely think it could look better, but really these settings are here just for you to be able to play around with. So after playing around with these settings for a few hours, I finally decided on the look and feel of Percy in his character form for the particular LEGO Art Mosaic. And now it was just a matter of actually ordering the pieces, which thanks to the LEGO Art Remix site is actually super simple. From there, you were able to actually select from the available pieces and select which studs that you wanted to purchase. Now, for the purposes of this video and for the purposes of educating people on how to actually do this, I will be going very briefly over the price that it actually cost me in very clear detail to make this. However, if you are watching this, Birdie, just you don't need to listen to the price part of this video. No need to go through that, but for the purposes of everybody else who actually wants to maybe make this themselves, I figured it would be valuable to just talk through the price very briefly and talk through the process of ordering the pieces. So once you're happy with the image, you can go ahead and see the pieces used and the exact quantities. Obviously this isn't the exact one that I used, but I'm just doing this for example. You can hit export piece list and copy the Bricklink XML to clipboard. For those who don't know, Bricklink.com is the world's largest secondhand marketplace for LEGO. This is basically the place where you can buy any LEGO item in existence. Sets, parts, minifigures, you name it, Bricklink will have it in its collection. Bricklink has a full-on database of every LEGO set and piece, making it really useful for people to be able to purchase parts, and what's very interesting is that the LEGO group actually acquired Bricklink. Ethically, I don't know how it makes sense that a company literally makes more money off of selling its products multiple times to different people, but you know what? That was a smart business decision, so good on you, Danes. So to go into Bricklink and to create a wanted list, you first need to make an account and hit upload, then you hit upload Bricklink XML format, and you can go ahead and paste in the format that you copied over from the LEGO Art Remix site. From here, just simply proceed to verify items, and it will spit out a list of different pieces that you can use to be able to actually get the pieces in the right colors. Unfortunately, this one I think I just selected the wrong thing. I should have selected the studs instead of the tiles. You do have to specifically select pixel piece for the 1x1 round plate, which is going to be different than the tiles. So now if you go to copy Bricklink XML to clipboard, you go ahead, wanted list, and upload. You just want to make sure that you have the right type of piece. You want the studs and not the tiles if those are actually what you are going for. Then just hit add to wanted list, and it is really simple. I already had a wanted list created for my actual Mosaic pieces for Percy, so let's go ahead and take a look at that right now, where you can see this was the initial wanted list. I pared it down and optimized the coloration to just be this particular list and went from there. So this is around a little bit over 2,300 studs, and this is not counting the pieces used for the frame. Bricklink has a really easy thing where you can just simply hit buy all. I needed to get them all in North America because I again wanted these to come quickly, and it spits out an average price of around $89 for just the studs themselves. However, there is a way to actually be able to optimize this both in terms of price as well as in terms of shipping speed, and that is with Lego.com. So Lego.com has their Pick-a-Brick site, which I'll talk about a little bit when we take a look at the order unboxing, but the Pick-a-Brick site is a really nice site where you can basically get some of the newest pieces directly from Lego and be able to order them straight from Lego to use in your own creations. It is really useful because you can basically just select individual pieces. I'm actually going to go ahead and add that to my cart right now and be able to choose, ooh, butterflies, very nice, and be able to basically choose what pieces that you want to get from brand new Lego sets directly from them, which I think is a really cool thing that they have set up. However, the way that Pick-a-Brick can work in conjunction with Bricklink is that, let's say for example, I have all of these carts, but I'm going to go ahead, for instance, to one of these carts here. Let's try and find one where maybe certain things are feeling a little expensive. 12 cents per dark tan stud feels pretty high, especially if I need to buy 35 of them. So what you want to do is type in the actual part number, that's 6141 for studs. I have that memorized, but you can just easily look that up. And then you can actually see plate 1x1 round. These are all the pieces with 6141 in it. It's not the perfect system because you are getting pieces that obviously are just going to be other pieces with 6141 in the number, but there is a section where you can basically just get all the studs. And if you go ahead and scroll on through, you can find your dark tan studs right here. Lego calls them sand yellow, which is wrong. It should be dark tan, but Lego has their own coloration type of system for defining their pieces. And you can see here that it's only 5 cents on Lego.com. Here's the unfortunate thing. The shipping time for these pieces are 28 business days, which means that when you're placing an order and if you need them to come on time, you basically need to bite the bullet and pay double the cost just on Bricklink just to ensure that it will get there on time. There is a caveat though. If a piece is marked with bestseller, let's say for example these dark brown ones are marked as bestseller, the shipping time goes down to only 5 business days. It took them actually double the amount of time, actually triple now that I think of it, to get those to me, but it is still a lot faster than the other pieces which advertise a 28 business day shipping. It actually takes around 2 to 3 months for these to get here once they actually pick and process the order. So definitely, if you are on a timetable, only get the pieces that are marked in highlight with bestseller. That is really, really important to make sure that you get their pieces on time. And even then, I was sweating with this order because the bestseller pieces that were supposed to ship in 5 business days actually took around 2 weeks to get to me. So do just keep that in mind. Of course, there is a way to fully optimize the prices and order speed here. Usually with Bricklink, if you're in the US and order from the USA, most sellers do ship their orders within a pretty timely fashion, so you can expect the pieces to come within a few days of you ordering, which is very nice. And now that I've actually ordered all the pieces, it was then time to go back to LEGO Art Remix, click on the instructions, and generate the instructions PDF, at which point it will automatically download that to your computer, and it will give you a good starting off point for how to actually have the instructions to your model, with all the different studs marked on the side with numbers, making it really, really easy to do this broken down by sections. There's one final thing I do want to note when placing orders, because this is actually really important. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much it actually costs to add the frame as well. Here's a list on Brickset.com of all of the LEGO Art Mosaic sets, and as you can see, every single one of them has a nice brick-built border around them. Specifically, let's take a look at a basic one. This is the Marvel Studios Iron Man one, where you can see you have a high-quality black border going around the entire thing. Of course, LEGO's slogan is only the best is good enough, and I apply that slogan to my gifts as well. I take this very, very seriously. So I can't just give a plain mosaic. No. This has to be the full deluxe package with a full-on border going around the entire thing. And so, To take that border, you essentially need to go back to Pick-a-Brick and choose the correct bricks that you want. Here is what my order was. It cost around $51 for the border frames as well as a couple of other studs, and so altogether I placed 2 orders from Bricklink and 1 order from Lego.com. The Lego.com order, just for educational purposes, cost around $50 to get all of these different plates, which are rather expensive. It was $30 for just the base plates alone, and then you need to get all of the other pieces that are used to create the frame itself, as well as a couple of other studs. My first Bricklink order cost around $100 with shipping and tax, so you've got all the different pieces right here. I threw in a couple of extra pieces as well, just these 2 Bionicle masks because they had them in the store, and then finally the last order cost around $46. So altogether this came out to around $200, give or take. I definitely would recommend optimizing the cost. I definitely don't think I was able to fully optimize the cost here because I was really trying to emphasize getting these pieces on time and quickly. There were definitely pieces that I had to get from Lego.com or that I had to get from Bricklink for more expensive than they normally would be, just because I really needed them very, very quickly. So there are ways to keep the cost down, and I would say if you are making your own Mosaic, if you want to also buy the pieces to the frame, expect to pay around $150 to $200, but I hope the end result is worth it because in my opinion, this is a really special customized Lego gift. So I think it's worth the price, but definitely there are ways to price optimize it if you personally want to actually have it a little bit cheaper than the $200 price tag, which ended up being paid for this particular order. From there, now that all the pieces had been ordered, it was now time to just wait for all of them to arrive, and then we could proceed to the next steps.
The first step was actually ordering the pieces, and this was a little bit more difficult than you might have imagined. You see, Lego has their own Pick-a-Brick service. It is a service where you can purchase pieces directly from the Lego group, and they come usually pretty quickly as long as you select quote-unquote bestseller pieces. The difference between bestseller and regular pieces is that for bestseller pieces, Lego treats it as a standard Lego order, and it'll ship to you in around a week or a week and a half. However, if you order any pieces that are not considered to be the bestseller pieces, it could take up to 2 to 3 months to arrive. And I don't got that kind of time. So what I had to do is I had to place most of my order on Lego.com via the bestseller pieces, and for the pieces that were available on Pick-a-Brick but just weren't the bestseller parts, I simply couldn't risk the potential of these not showing up on time, and so what I had to do is place a few Bricklink orders. They were a lot more expensive than Pick-a-Brick. That is the trade-off. I had to spend a lot more money just to get these quicker, but I really needed to get these before the birthday date, so you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. I'm actually going to go ahead and unbox these right now so you can kind of get a look at what I ordered directly from Lego. Right here with the bestseller parts is a custom order form. This has barcodes for each and every one of the pieces. I mostly got a mix of different studs as well as the black borders of the frame, and of course the all-important large Technic panel pieces, which are pretty expensive on Lego Pick-a-Brick, but absolutely worth it because you need these in order to make sure you have a safe and sturdy Lego Mosaic. Now, a lot of my own Mosaics, I do not use these. I usually just use standard base plates, but they're a little bit worse in quality. I kind of have them hung up in a little bit more of a shoddy fashion. We want this to feel like a Lego product, and so the standard base plates, the Technic ones, it is. Setting those aside, let's go ahead and open up my orders from the Bricklink stores. One of these flew in from New York, so took a little bit longer than I expected. This was New York to Seattle, but eventually it all came on time. Let's just open these up. Thankfully, these are all seeming to be fully sorted. So these are sorted by color, which is very nice. Also got a piece for myself, which I will use for some other projects, but for the most part, wow, these are actually packaged really nicely. I may just leave these packaged like this because that is actually really, really nice the way that they're all fully sorted. This is the Life in Pieces Bricklink store for folks who are curious. We have another one here. Let's go ahead and open up this other package. This one was actually one of the first ones to arrive, but oh, nice. Another great packing job by this Bricklink seller. So awesome. I already have a lot of my job done for me where the pieces are actually pre-sorted. Unfortunately, Lego themselves does not actually pre-sort the pieces, so they're all kind of just jumbled together in here. I'm going to go ahead and sort these, and we're going to package this up. Okay, so here we have a bit of a list of all of the different pieces. Obviously, we've gotten these large base plates, all different individual studs. I am hoping that these are the right quantity because I would hate for one of the orders to have been messed up, but worst case scenario, I'll just go ahead and find them in my own collection. And I'm going to go ahead and repackage the ones that are the same color. So some of these are the same color, and just for the sake of clarity, I want to put them all in one bag. But for the most part, a lot of my job is honestly done for me. So that's really cool. Thanks so much.
package, and I'm gonna go ahead and package this up. Okay, so packaging this up is actually going to be a pretty fun task because I'm actually quite excited to see what exactly I can do to make the packaging feel different. Obviously, the graphic design is going to come after this, but what I want to do is actually have this package the same way that LEGO themselves package these sets. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and open this bag up. This is really interesting. It is a sealed bag directly from LEGO of the base plate pieces. Very convenient that they've done that. It's not a Ziploc, it's just a straight up bag, which is very strange, but cool. They go ahead and remove these plates, and all these parts are pretty much brand new from LEGO, so this is really getting the quality of an actual LEGO package. Next up, we have this bag here, but this one is kind of intermixed with a few different pieces. I'm gonna try not to let this one spill, but I'm just gonna grab this base plate out of here first. Go ahead and get all the pieces off to the side. And now we have a ton of different base plates that we can now use to be combined into the main mosaic itself. So the way that these boxes work, I'm just going to set these right here for now, is that there is a custom inner cardboard flap for the boxes. So inside here, let's go ahead and just dump out all of the extra packaging. There's this inner cardboard box, which basically is the place that houses all of these specialized base plates, which is perfect because now I can just take them in stacks of 3 and place them inside the box itself, exactly how they originally came in the official set. So honestly, this is going to feel like you're opening up a new and sealed LEGO box for the most part, for legitimately for real. Like you can see here, this cardboard box is literally perfectly sized to fit 3 of these individual base plates that are fully stacked. So I'm gonna go ahead, take each of these 3 and put them in. Okay, and the last set of 3, perfect. LEGO did not mess up on the quantity. Sometimes LEGO does mess up and just sends you not the right pieces, so I'm glad they did not mess up this time, because then I would have been screwed. I mean, there's no chance. The birthday's in like a week. So this is now all set. This has the right amount of base plates in it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that inside the box, and now it's just a matter of reorganizing all of these pieces to actually fit together into their own bags. So what I'm gonna do is we have these kind of light nougat pieces, and I'm going to take just a regular Ziploc to combine them, because obviously these are kind of just the same color split up into 3 separate bags, which feels a little bit wasteful to me, but I also see that the bags are labeled as 100 quantity each, which makes sense because maybe this Bricklink seller just already has them pre-packaged in batches of 100. So, all right, let them cook. That totally works out. Let's just get all of these pieces in the bag here. And once I'm done reorganizing this, we're gonna do a summary and take a look at all these pieces all together. Okay, finally we're done. I have pre-sorted everything. I have checked the inventory. Everything should be pretty much correct, and if anything's not correct, we can just always go back to my place into my collection and just grab a few extra pieces if we need to. Otherwise, this is basically good to go. I have all the pieces in here. It is ready to be packaged up. The only thing missing right now are the instructions and the cover art. So the cover art, I honestly do not know how I'm going to replace this artwork. Let's pop on over to Photoshop right now to cook up some of the artwork based on the initial design of this particular piece, but I don't know how I'm gonna get that printed. Worst case scenario, I print it out in a few different pieces of paper and like tape it on. I'll come up with something. So let's do that right now, and then I need to still do the instructions, which is the next part of this. Thankfully, the process of photoshopping the box was actually probably one of the most fun aspects of the entire construction of this gift. You see, I wanted to replicate the official LEGO boxes for the LEGO art sets as close as possible as I could. Obviously, as you can see, graphic design is not really my passion, but I was really trying to do my best in order to be able to replicate at least a semblance of what an official LEGO box would look like. Is it perfect? No. The coloration is a little bit off, it doesn't quite have the gradient, there's a little bit of detail there that isn't quite the same as the official box, but for the most part, I was able to get it pretty close to the official thing, including actually putting in the official LEGO art logo, which is the overarching brand for all these mosaics, but not one that actually features on many of the actual boxes. Now, I went to the effort of actually going in and photoshopping the images of the lifestyle photos on the back of the box, where you can actually see little bits and pieces of the mosaic in progress of being built. I managed to actually modify what it looks like on like the instruction manual there to really just have that authentic experience, and then I went ahead and found one of their other lifestyle photos to actually showcase what it looks like in the room. One of the more fun things that I got a chance to do is that many times in LEGO lifestyle photos they have some sort of a model walking in the background, so I got an easy PNG of my buddy Birdie walking along in the background, kind of just enjoying the comfort of her own house. And of course, what types of photos would she hang up of herself? Well, of course, only the best photos of herself, so of course I got a selection of some of the best ones, and went ahead and put them into the box art itself. And finally, the artwork for the front and back of the box was done. So here's what the front of the box looks like. Of course, you have the large name of the character in big, bold text, just like the official LEGO box art. You have a selection of the different studs in the side there, and a large picture of the mosaic itself. What I have changed is I've added the LEGO art logo, unlike some of the other LEGO boxes of this style, and I've also included a few extra little Easter eggs and details just pertaining to just little things in our friendship. For instance, she really loves the number 444. She says it's her spirit number or soul number or something. I don't know what that means, but okay, I put 444 there as the actual number for the set itself. And I also added Duckbricks exclusive 1 of 1, just in case, just for fun, I ever decide to make more LEGO stuff like this under the Duckbricks banner. Also, just one quick note if you do decide to do this yourself, LEGO isn't super happy if people use their own logo in custom box arts because they say it's confusing and could mislead people into thinking things are actual sets, so this is a big no-no, especially if you want to sell something like this, but fortunately the only thing I'm selling when making this is my soul, so I was happily going to include the LEGO logo in the box just to make the experience that much more authentic. You're welcome. I hope I don't get sued. On the back of the box, you can see this very nice lifestyle photo, a very classy environment filled with only the best photos of yourself that you would hang up. But of course, you have the original photo of Percy there as well, plus the in-progress image of the mosaic actually being built, including the Duckbricks logo on the side, because if I'm giving someone a gift, they may as well advertise for my brand as well. Remember kids, nothing in life is free. The next immediate step is actually printing the picture on pieces of paper to be able to cut and glue across the sides of the box. So what I did is I took 2 sheets of paper and I basically realized that these square boxes that LEGO uses for LEGO art are almost the same size as 2 standard 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper laid next to each other. It's not quite perfect, there is a good amount of overhang, but I figured that if I were to just play around with it, it probably would just look pretty good. And so that's exactly what I did. I took these pieces of paper, measured it out, and then began the printing. So how exactly am I actually going to get this printed on the box itself? Well, I employ only the most rigorous of all processes. First of all, I opened up the picture in Adobe Acrobat, hit print, and then came the hard part, going to poster and going through a very mathematical process that I like to call randomly typing in numbers until I get something that looks okay. Like that. 76%, obviously very, very mathematical in the way I determined exactly what size it should be, but looks like it's approximately going to be spread across 2 sheets of paper going horizontally. Thankfully, it's super easy because it's square. It would have been a lot harder if the box was rectangular, but it's not. It is just a perfect square. So I'm going to go ahead and print this and see how it looks.
Now for the moment of truth. Does the scaling that I selected more or less fit the box? And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, maybe, it might be actually a little bit big. Huh. I mean, I can always reprint it, that is no problem. But this actually looks like it scales okay. Like, it's not that bad. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop these up right now and we're gonna check and see if this fits the box perfect. Okay, they've been cut down to size. Let's go ahead and see if this works. So we have one part there. The next piece, this is like assembling a puzzle here, is going to go here. Okay, it's a little big on the side, but that's fine because I can just chop that side a little bit more. Gonna take this. Oh, interesting. So it actually isn't enough to cover the bottom, but that's fine because I think a little black border is okay. And then we have this. Hey, this actually looks pretty good. Huh. No, like I'm actually really happy with this. Okay, interesting. This actually looks really nice. As a box, like this looks like a legitimate box. Oh my goodness, I'm actually really happy with this. Fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something on the side. I forgot about that. I will come up with a graphic design for the side. But wow, this is actually really nice. Okay, let's go ahead and attach this up and we're good to go.
If you're curious about how I attach the pieces, I basically just use super glue, although really any glue or maybe even double-sided tape would probably do the job just fine.
Okay, I think that turned out pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it does the job done. I mean, you can see the face, you can see the text, and most importantly, It is actually the size of the box, so I consider this an absolute win. Let's go ahead and do the back side, and then I actually do need to do the graphics for at least this side, because you know what? If you are gonna commit to the bit, you might as well go all the way, so let's go.
So we've got a bit of an issue, and that's that for whatever reason, the images on this latest batch just didn't really turn out that good. They're okay, like they're passable, but I would prefer that it doesn't look this pixelated and bad. You can literally see the pixels on it. I think it's a matter of my printer just being kind of funky. Like you can literally see square pixels on this, which I don't really want to see. I messed around with the color settings, so let's go ahead and see if the second print is better, but I really don't want to waste toner. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I'm not convinced this is any better. I am actually mildly convinced that this might actually be worse. Like, I don't know. I mean, they're about the same. Okay, so you know what? I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet because I don't know enough about how printers work to know how to fix this. And you know what? I think the jankiness adds the charm. Yeah, this was intentional. It shows it was homemade. Let's say that, gang. The second time around, since I knew what I was doing, the gluing process was a little bit easier. I kind of went overboard on the glue last time and used way too much. I literally used 2 bottles for the first part. So instead, I was very conservative on the glue and realized that since it's super glue, it works really well, especially in small doses. So once I had all 4 corners attached up, the back of the box was done.
Okay, I am actually kind of surprised at how this turned out. I thought I was going to have to order a poster online, but no, this actually worked out pretty okay. The back admittedly could have been a bit better. I admit that it is right now probably 3 a.m., so I'm a little bit tired. I'm running on fumes, but wanted to make this perfect just to be really good. And I think that overall, even while the printing isn't the best, you can still get the point across. You have the lifestyle images like Lego always does on the back of their boxes. You have the build in progress image, and you have the original image, so pretty much all those boxes are checked off. Is only the best good enough? No, good enough is good enough, but I don't know. I think this is a little better than good enough. I'm actually really happy, especially with the front of the box. It looks like an authentic Lego box art, and I think that I can pretty much just build, or at least leave the box as is for the most part. The only thing I do want to change is the text on the side. Obviously, it still says Warhol and still has the 4 different Marilyn Monroe images on the side. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and figure out a way to design the side of the box, do that, and then the box will be done. And once the box is done, our job here is over. Oh, except for the instruction manual. Oh my, I have no idea how I'm doing that. Okay, we'll do the side first, and then we'll figure out the instruction manual later.
Do I have a ruler? Yes. Do I also think I can eyeball this? Definitely. Yeah, that looks about right. So if I went from the very bottom up to the bottom of the exclusive text, I think that's about right. Like, that's the size that we need for the side of the box. We'll play by ear, and worst case scenario, I'll just print out as many copies as is needed to get it right. Let's go. This time around, designing the side of the box only took around 10 minutes because it was already pretty easy to do. It was just a quick sliver. I had the images ready to go, and I was ready to just start attaching. After a quick bout of gluing, the sides were done, and finally the box had been completed.
And now the end is near. As you can see, we have the front, the back, and even the side that actually has different iterations showcasing the evolution of how I came up with the design for the overall Mosaic. Now, all that's left with the side of the box done, the front and the back fully done, it's now just time to go ahead and work on the instructions. And to be honest, for the instructions, I'm probably just going to print them out on a piece of paper. Maybe I would do something a little bit different, like a square-shaped piece of paper. I don't really know what exactly I'm going to do, but I'll do some quick and easy cover art for the instructions themselves, and then go ahead, print them out, and include them, and then we'll be finally done with this gift. For the final step of designing the instructions, I first researched the existing LEGO art instruction manuals before deciding on a bit of a template that I wanted to work off of. I wanted to use the frame instructions, basically just ripped straight from an existing LEGO instruction manual, but also be able to get inspired by the artwork and blurbs at the front of many of the LEGO art instructions to kind of make it my own. Of course, the actual instructions were already done for me by the art Mosaic generator, so all I had to do was make the cover art and at least one extra image in the center there, just to be able to introduce the builder to LEGO art.
Inside this, I kind of treated it as almost like a birthday card, as well as just including some fun text to be added to the actual instruction manual itself. Of course, you gotta get that lifestyle photo that LEGO loves to include, where I managed to actually, of course, add in the photo of Percy there for the lifestyle photo itself, but then it was just a matter of opening up everything in Adobe Illustrator, renaming all the files, and then printing it all at once in one single batch. Once everything was fully printed, as you can see it's printing right here double-sided, all I had to do was pretty much just cut each and every one of the individual pages to exactly the right size. This was done by basically just stacking and eyeballing them and then cutting a few batches at once, which turned out pretty good, and then it was time to add the instructions to the set.
So after about an hour's worth of work, boom, you looking for this? Okay, this is the custom instruction manual that I've printed out, cut it into approximately the square shape that all of the other manuals come in, and as you can see, you can open this up. You've got the artwork on the front. Of course, there is a little bit of a blurb here. I've typed up a custom welcome to LEGO art blurb. Of course, this is saying to enjoy the birthday gift and having some, of course, just some legal terms. No need to read about those, but, you know, those are just there just in case. Now you have some artwork of Percy on the wall there, another good lifestyle shot, a shot explaining what the big brick separator does, which of course I have to include in the set because it is a LEGO art-esque set. And then we get into the actual instructions themselves, where thankfully a lot of the work was done for me thanks to the amazing LEGO Art Remix site, which has the instructions being very, very clear. The matte paper makes the colors actually stand out quite a lot. And then we can flip on over to the instructions on how to make the frame. So this also does have the frame instructions. All the pieces should be included to actually construct the frame itself. These are literally just ripped from the actual LEGO Batman art set, but hey, if it works, don't fix it. So you've got this all set up right here. And then finally, we have a full-on inventory, of course crediting LEGO Art Remix at the end, of every single one of the studs included in the set. That's all for the booklet here. It is just a custom little nice booklet to be included with the set itself. Now for the moment of truth, is this going to nicely fit inside the box? And the answer looks to be yes. Okay, so I'm just going to be pretty careful with how I tuck the booklet in here. We don't want it to get wrinkled. Okay, I think like that's probably good enough. Like it definitely was supposed to be just a square, but you know what? I'm using LEGO's more updated instruction manual size for the Batman art set, so I think that works out just fine. We have the manual in there, we have all the pieces, we have the base plates, and finally, I think we can call this little project done. All right, gang, I cooked. This is the final set. Obviously, as you can see, the full Mosaic artwork is done. You've got Percy's name right there. You've got the photo of the majestic cat. You have some extra little Easter eggs on the side of the box, as well as the set number. Of course, the side of the box itself does have specialized artwork decorated for the box, and you even have the lifestyle photos on the back of the box that we all love to make fun of in the LEGO community. This has been fully sealed up, which means I can make no further alterations to the inside of the contents, so I really hope everything is in there okay. And now it's time to wrap this up and get ready to give the gift. This has been actually a really fun time crafting this box. I'm gonna be completely honest, my initial idea for this gift was just to make the mosaic itself and then just give it hand-delivered, fully completed, but then I got the idea to why not make it an interactive activity, and then I got the idea of, hey, you know what? If she doesn't like it, at least I got content out of this, because that's what matters, everyone. Of course, of course. And so I hope you enjoyed this actually pretty in-depth tutorial on how to make one of these if you are so inclined to make one of these. It was actually not quite as hard as I initially expected it to be. The amount of work was about, I would say, a full day of the design of the boxes and whatnot, and then obviously the packaging, and then just a little bit of extra time for the ordering and waiting for pieces to get in. But this was actually a really fun time. I actually had a fantastic experience creating this, and would definitely recommend if you have the time, effort, and energy. It's a pretty cool gift, hopefully. I mean, I hope that it's well received. Now, in theory, if I remember, this video should go live right on her birthday dinner, so we're gonna be having a birthday celebration. I'll go ahead and hit the publish button on this video the moment that we actually are all at dinner. Hopefully she's not going to be checking the Duckbricks YouTube channel over dinner, but, you know, I mean, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But then, if you want, you can go ahead and wish happy birthday to my buddy down below in the comments. I think that this will be hopefully a pretty fun gift to give, and I had a blast making it. I definitely will want to do this for my other friends now. Like, I really want to make custom Lego art mosaics for my other friends and do a custom box presentation like this because this was so much fun. And the one final note I will say is that if you don't have an extra leftover box, like I did with the Lego art sets, it's super easy to just, well, make your own graphic design for a different size of cardboard box, and I think you can really just size it however you want. So this one definitely was a lot simpler because I literally had the graphic design all ready to go for this size of box, but I certainly had a blast doing it. Hopefully the gift is well received, but again, even if it's not, I got content, so I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Kidding though. Happy birthday, Birdie. I hope you enjoyed this gift, and oh boy, I cooked. Alright, and with that, we have summed up the creation, execution, and planning of a custom Lego art mosaic set. Of course, speaking of birthday gifts, shout out to my homie Julia for this customized Duckbricks chef costume. You really cooked for real on this one. I'm gonna say that. That's a great birthday gift right there. But overall, this was just such a fun time. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more Lego news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming away very soon. And I can't wait to hear. Let me know in the comments if you are inspired to make something like this in the future. Thanks all for tuning in, and I can't wait to see what other people do with this type of concept. Bye for now.